What's up, guys? So I'm sure many of you want to make some beats and did some Google research and found yourself coming across Fruity Loops or FL Studio. And yeah, it's a lot to take in. I think it's a great program to start with your producing journey, making house music or rap music or trap or rock, whatever it is. FL Studio is a great DAW to get started. It's very easy to use. I've been using it for about uh, probably over 15 years now, since I started. I never found a reason to leave. I've tried Ableton, I've tried Logic, and there's a lot of features in here. So basically, I'm going to get into a few tips and tricks if you're just brand new, you're looking for a few settings to change and how to get started using Fruity Loops. Here's a little guide and some things I found along the way that I figured I'd pass along to you guys. So check it out. Thanks. So the first thing you're going to want to change is in your audio settings here. You'll see devices. So now you have direct sound devices, and it's going to have all your sound drivers. You're going to want to use the ASIO version. Basically, so FL Studio ASIO is probably what you're going to have, or ASIO for all. And what that does is it lowers the latency when you're using like a keyboard or a MIDI controller to control something. So I'll just give you an example. So here it is on primary sound driver non-ASIO. See how it's like stuttery, and you can't tell, but I'm clicking it. It's probably like a 5 millisecond delay. And then FL Studio ASIO. If you look at the mixer, see how it's smooth now? It's way smoother than it was. And it's a lot faster when I click, when I hit the keyboard. So that's your first setting you want to change. The next thing I found is setting up your files. So you'll see this ribbon here on the side. So let's see, where's like the normal plugin presets, recent files, channel, impulses, mix. So you'll see here packs. Like this is what you start with, right? Packs. So you're going to want to make your own sound folder, right? So when you download samples, drum kits, vocal samples, if you're in Splice, you could put that here. So this is where I have all my sounds for FL Studio. And that's just in a folder on my computer. Now to set that up, options, file settings, and you see browse extra search folders. Browse extra search folder here. You just hit this folder, and then you pick where you want, where the folder is going to be. So this is my hard drive with samples and stuff. So say I want to make a new folder, not there, but I want to make a new folder in this. So FL Studio samples. Okay. And now reread the structure. It's already here. So FL Studio, and then if I were to add more subfolders to that, I could browse it right here. So right now I have it FL Studio Sounds, and then there's all these folders. Each folder is its own sound pack, and then I even made one for Splice, which I don't know where I put that. I think it's Splice folder here. So presets, sample packs, and those are all stuff I downloaded from Splice. But it makes it really easy. So you can say I got an 808 here from Splice. I could click it there. I could drag it right over to the sequencer. Good to go. So that'll get you started. The next thing is not really a setting, but you're going to want to know your BPMs. So beats per minute up here. So if you're doing house music, you're in anywhere from the 120 to 128 range. If you're doing UK garage, maybe in the 130 to 140 range. I mean, hip hop used to be like 90 to 100, maybe 85 to 100, but now it's usually double time, anywhere from 140 to 180 to get those fast hats. But just a tip for you guys, if you didn't know this, if you're looking, if you find a song you're digging, you want to make a beat like kind of in the same speed as that, you just right click the BPM thing, and you hit tap. Then you listen to your song and you click at the same speed of the song, and it'll automatically change your tempo. So you could click there and set it to any type of tempo you want. Another thing that's really helpful, if you don't know music theory, which is a lot of people starting off, there's something called helpers that could help you kind of stay in line. Because if you're gonna, let's just get a sound here. So I got a piano, right? Like, there's sounds that sound right, and there's sounds that sound wrong. So I could be like, sounds okay. I mean, is it really good? Like, that's probably not all in the same key. So to make something that sounds cohesive, when you're in piano roll, if you're not using a keyboard or anything, you're going to want to click this top arrow here, and then you go to helpers, scale highlighting, right? So what you're going to do is pick, it could be anything when you're starting out. You know, if you're following something, if you're trying to fit along a song that's already made, you got to figure out that key. But if you're making a new song, you can pick whatever you want. Basically, a rule of thumb is major is more happy, not always the case, and minor, natural, Aeolian is more sad, right? So I typically produce in that note, but let's say you want to do C, helpers, scale highlighting, C major, right? I don't know if you're seeing these grids change, but everything that's lighter on the piano roll is all part of the same key, right? So, quick rule of thumb, major key is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, right? And then I think minor is would be half step, whole step, half step. So it would be whole step on. So it's whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step. But you get the idea. So if you start with a C, and then you go to it's just gonna sound weird. So let's say we're making a house song, right? And it's a happy house song. Get a little kick here, just so you guys get an idea. 909. Fill it four steps, right? So now if you follow these C major, it's like so that's just a general example. Obviously, not obviously, but some notes you'll hear sound going better into other notes, and that I usually play by ear. There's all sorts of theories, circle fifths and stuff with chord progressions, but this is a good baseline to start. So you're kind of making stuff that sounds reasonable or sounds like it makes sense. So like that sounds all right, right? But if you did like that sounds kind of weird. And to take it up a notch, ready? So you get, I want to do a little organ house, right? It's just what I know. And now I go, normally I know more about, let's do A sharp minor. Get a little more house vibe, let's say, ready? So see, sounds like a song you would hear. And that's all playing in the key of A sharp minor, right? But if I threw in see, that sounds kind of off. All of it kind of gives you that cringe vibe. I don't know if that's the word, but it just doesn't sound right. So using these highlighted points, if you could see where my cursor is there, that'll keep you kind of see how it all those kind of make sense. So that's a huge tool I use. It's not very hard to learn the keys, how to sort it. It's the same formula across all notes, right? So you start on a C, you go whole step, half step, and then you start on an A, you go whole step, half step. If you're looking at a keyboard, it's kind of hard to visualize on a little computer keyboard. But if you have a MIDI keyboard or you're using that, it's something worth practicing. And then you can figure out if you're in the right key signature or not. Other than that, not much other settings I would change. Another quick tip is moving, whenever you're using a bass, like an 808, I would suggest always opening up the sample, changing it to polyphony 1, so it only play every time. What that means is every time you play the note like very fast, it cuts off the other one. So see how it stops? If that's off, it gets very crowded. That's another big thing. Also, if you're tuning 808s, so this one in my sample, it says it starts with C, right? But let's see if I have an 808 somewhere. Okay, so this one is A sharp, right? So we're starting at C. If you wanna bring it back to normal, you go on the piano here. C, D, so B flat, A sharp right here. This is A sharp, right? Root note. You right click that on top, and now when you're hitting C on your keyboard, it's playing a C note. That's a good thing. If you're making house music, this little slider right here is good. This is makes it like swing. So I don't know if you could hear a difference here. Ready? You see how it's like, So that's really good for house music. You're making like old school hip hop, like some Jay Dilla vibe. He does a lot of swing, but go now. Here's no swing. Here's some swing. And then really basically just beginner stuff is this. What you see right here is your sequencer. This is where you would program drums. So, you know, if I want a hi-hat, so that's where you would program your drums, right? And then basically how you assemble a song is you open up the playlist. Wish it would not be so big. So you open up a playlist, and then you could paste your patterns in there. So pattern 1, right? Also another tip, Control B copies it to the next sequence. So, right. And then you make another pattern. And if you want to keep it kind of separate, so say we want to add another hat here. Put that in pattern 2. And then you go to song. If you want to separate some stuff, click the pattern you're on. Right click where it is. It split by channel. And now it splits everyone to its own pattern. So that way you could kind of edit different stuff. Ready? So say I wanted to do like a intro to a song. So now you got it all separated. And this is not a real song, but so, you know, it starts like this. You got just the hi-hat and the bass line, you know? Oh, wow. It's so boring. And then we're dropping it in. Or no swing. But you get the idea. Playlist is where you make your arrangement of the whole song. Pattern is where you make one special part of the song. You know? And yeah, that's it. You know, you got your mixer here. This is where you want to route all your tracks. If you click one on the sequencer, right click and hit channel routing. Route select the channels of this track. Click that, or Control L. And that way you could start mixing all your stuff. You see it in the mixer. You could also use these here. Right now that signifies the mixer channel it's on. So this bass is on 1, 2, 3, 7, right? So I could change it to 4, 5, 6. Keep it simple. The only problem is there's no label if you do it that way. So you'd have to rename it to, so 6 is, you know, a hat, right? So you could rename track or hit F2, hat. 5 is M1, insert 4 is snare. So you know what you're working with when you want to mix it. And yeah, I mean, other than that, there's so much more you could do with this, but I just wanted to get a little, give you guys a few tips and tricks that make things easier. I think ASIO for all is important, and setting up a sound folder is super important. So that's really it. If you guys enjoy this content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, keep making them beats, and hopefully you guys have a good day. Have a good one. Bye.